another stock to look out for would be the gaming stock. The gaming stock that took beating on the back of government announcement that there will be a 28% GST levy on online gaming, and online gaming platforms, of course, coming out in huge numbers. And not just the gaming industry. This is a unanimous approach from every other famous person out there, from Ashneer Grover to all host of industry stalwarts, coming out in favor of online gaming industry, saying that this is not going to be very helpful for the gaming sector. One of the crucial clarifications that's come in by the way of retrospective taxation. Will the taxation, the GST, be applied retrospectively? And we now know that it will not be, Karthik.
Thankfully. So I think what was a death blow for the gaming industry, what was touted to be a death blow for the gaming industry, is thankfully still a death blow and not a real coffin dug up already. So it is not retrospective, and that clarity came in last evening, that this taxation is going to be from the day that the law gets passed in the parliament. And this is, remember, right now these GST Council recommendations is all a proposal. It is not, it hasn't been passed yet. So once it gets passed, then from that day the taxation kicks in, and this taxation is not going to be retrospective. So some sigh of relief there for the gaming sector, but only a very limited sigh. It's not really, it's not something which is going to change their fortunes. It's just that their death gets deferred by a couple of weeks or months. But yeah, the gaming stocks are not doing well, Shweta. So Delta Corp yesterday had hit lower circuit. It closed about 23-24% down, and even this morning when trading has begun, it is already down about 3.4% or so. And look at the graph. I mean, the stock price has gone from from 7th July, when it was trading at about 252 rupees. Right now it's down to about 183 rupees.
Now, I'm looking at a 5-day fall in Delta Corporation stock, which is approximately 27.37%.
That's right. That's right. So about 24% yesterday, 3% down already
30%
today.
30% down already.
And so is the case with Nazara Tech. Nazara was down about 5%, 6% yesterday. It's down about 4%, about 0.5% right now. So gaming stocks not doing well, but I think the action is not as much about the stock story here. That is something which is cyclical. It will recover, and there are going to be means and ways through which stocks will stabilize at the real value, where consumers, retail investors, as well as the company's projections meet expectations of each other. I think the real story which is emerging from here is this whole concept of sin tax on something as addictive as, let's say, alcohol or cigarettes being imposed on something like gaming, and gaming being considered, online gaming being considered, at par with other sins. And that is not something that the gaming industry really expected. And in fact, yesterday while we were speaking to Roland, who's the president of the All India Gaming Federation, I think there weren't any indications given to the sector and to the bodies which constitute players in the sector that such sort of taxation, draconian taxation, is going to come and hit them. And their fear really is, if you were to understand the math that is being played there, I think the fear really stems from the fact that this taxation does not come on the fee that the platform charges, but on the face value of every transaction. Which means if you buy tokens worth 100 rupees, or if you were to play with 100 rupees of real cash, straight away the 28% tax kicks in, and that tax kicks in taking your 100 rupee value down to about 72 rupees for you to play with. And then in case you happen to win, there is a 30% TDS already in place on that victory money. So for you to be able to recover your 100 rupees spent on gaming, you need to first recover the 28 rupees lost in GST, and then the 30% lost in TDS, and then square that up as your victory, which means you need to now win 50%, 60% of your invested amount to actually make money out of real gaming. And so I think it's, again, if you were to look at both sides of the coin, the GST Council believes that this is something which needs to be put at par with casinos, like poker chips, games of chance, or let's say horse racing. If those are games of chance and if those are being taxed at 28%, then why should online gaming not be taxed at the same level? But the other argument that emerges is that if if this is not a game of chance but a game of skill, then why aren't you taxing, let's say, entry into stock markets at pretty much the same value? Because stock markets also have a game of chance and a game of skill both working together. So your 100 rupees invested in stock trading is not taxed at 28% face value GST.
There's something very interesting that Finance Minister, was also the chairperson for GST Council, said, and she said it's a moral question. You can't be taxing online gaming at the same rate as you tax essential items, which is either 0 or 5%. And it's interesting because between 5% and 28%, there are various other tax slabs as well, which could have been thought of. So something went, and I'm sure a serious discussion went behind this proposal. And amid all the backlash, the government is also saying there's no need to rethink. We're not going to rethink, we're not going to take it back. That doesn't really augur well, Amit, for a lot of people who are hoping to play games, and also for gaming platforms that may not get their due players back playing with them anytime soon.
I would like to be an optimist, and I'm sure these companies will find a way to skirt it around. The example being Goa, where casinos were not allowed to be open on land, so they are all on sea. So I hope the biggest impact will be what happens to the 2.5 billion FDI that has already been invested in India. That gets jeopardized. Two, what this will do to gamers basically is they will go on to illegal platforms, and that will be more hurtful to them. So if it is just a moral question, then if the government is not taking care of the gamers, because an addict will find a way and then he will go to an illegal platform. What happens then? He is more in danger of losing more money, and then he'll have no place to basically even argue his case. So these are the two places where the bigger impacts will come in. One is the FDI in this sector, which, as Karthik had mentioned yesterday, will flow into other tax havens. 2.5 billion has already been invested. What happens to that? It goes away. More that would have come in, and it's a tech sector. It should, in my opinion, it should be promoted rather than taxed.
Okay, promoted rather than taxed, but the government deems it fit at this point in time to tax gaming industry, the online gaming in India, of course, now attracting a GST rate of 28%. A lot of hue and cry, but the government seems determined and not ready to roll it back. We will, of course, have to wait and watch out for what happens later on that story.